MotoGP is heating up once again, and this time, all eyes are on Marc Marquez. The world champion delivered a sensational performance at the Czech Grand Prix, leaving his rivals on edge with an outstanding display of speed and determination. But it wasn't only his performance on the track that grabbed attention. Marquez also fired a sharp jab at Marco Bezzecchi, instantly sparking fresh controversy throughout the MotoGP paddock. The championship battle is becoming more intense, tensions are rising, and the drama is reaching a new level. Could this be a sign that Marquez is ready to take control of the title race while sending a strong message to Bezzecchi? Let's discuss. The 2026 MotoGP World Championship fight has heated up once again following a dramatic and surprising race weekend. Just a few months ago, many believed Marc Marquez's chances of returning to the front of the field were over. However, reality has proven quite the opposite. The 8-time world champion has silenced his critics and shown that he remains a serious contender in this season's title battle. Marquez's victory in the main race served as clear proof that the champion's mentality that has defined his career never disappeared. The result became even more significant as it marked his second consecutive victory, following another dominant performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix. However, it wasn't just the victory that put Marquez in the spotlight. The race result also brought major changes to the championship standings. While Marquez celebrated on the top step of the podium, his main rival, Marco Bezzecchi, endured a disastrous weekend after being disqualified, costing him the opportunity to score valuable championship points. From the moment the lights went out, Marc Marquez immediately looked aggressive and highly competitive. The Ducati Lenovo team rider appeared completely comfortable on his machine and maintained a race pace that few rivals could match. Even so, the path to victory was far from easy. Standing in his way was his own teammate, Francesco Bagnaia, who delivered an exceptionally strong performance throughout the race. The battle between the two Ducati riders became one of the most exciting spectacles for fans. Bagnaia repeatedly applied pressure and fought hard to maintain the lead. Yet Marquez's experience and racecraft once again proved to be the difference. Remaining calm under pressure, Marquez carefully managed the situation, preserved his tyres, and gradually built an advantage. As the race entered its closing stages, he successfully secured the lead and held it all the way to the checkered flag. Moments after crossing the finish line, Marquez raised both arms in celebration. The image symbolized the resurgence of a champion whose future had been questioned after a series of injuries over the past few seasons. For Marquez, this victory was about much more than an additional 25 championship points. It was a powerful statement that he still possesses the speed, courage, and winning instinct that made him one of the most feared riders in MotoGP for years. Since suffering a serious injury several seasons ago, Marquez's career journey has been filled with challenges. Multiple surgeries, lengthy rehabilitation periods, and inconsistent results led many to question whether he could ever return to his best form. Now, those doubts are gradually being answered. Over the past several rounds, Marquez has shown significant improvement. He has become increasingly comfortable on the Ducati and is beginning to rediscover the consistency that defined his dominant years in MotoGP. The biggest drama of the weekend, however, came from Marco Bezzecchi's camp. While Marquez celebrated victory, the Aprilia rider was forced to accept a bitter reality after being disqualified. As a result of the penalty, Bezzecchi failed to add any points to his championship tally. The situation was a major blow, especially considering that he had a valuable opportunity to extend his advantage over his closest rivals. On the other hand, Marquez emerged as the biggest beneficiary. The full points secured by the Spanish rider significantly reduced the gap to Bezzecchi in the championship standings. What had once seemed like a title race gradually leaning toward a single rider has now been thrown wide open again. Analysts have started to view Marquez as one of the strongest contenders for this season's World Championship. The momentum is now firmly in his hands, while his rivals must work even harder to stop the resurgence that continues to gain strength. Amid the euphoria of his victory, Marc Marquez also made remarks that many interpreted as a sharp dig at Marco Bezzecchi. Without mentioning him by name, Marquez emphasized that in racing, every action eventually brings its own consequences. In Moto GP, every rider fights hard to win, but sometimes racing has its own way of delivering payback. Today I focused on my job, and the result came to me, said Marquez. The statement immediately sparked speculation throughout the paddock. Many linked it to the incidents and controversies involving Bezzecchi over the last several rounds. The timing only fueled the discussion, as Marquez celebrated a perfect victory while Bezzecchi endured a disastrous weekend that ended in disqualification and the loss of valuable championship points. For many fans, the situation looked like a form of sporting karma. While Bezzecchi failed to capitalise on the opportunity to extend his lead in the standings, Marquez took full advantage, dramatically cutting the points deficit. The pressure has now begun to shift. If Bezzecchi once enjoyed a comfortable position at the top, it is now Marquez who appears to be controlling the momentum of the championship battle. The message from the world champion was loud and clear to his rivals, including Bezzecchi. Marc Marquez is back, and he is ready to answer every doubt and every challenge he has faced throughout the season in the most painful way possible. By winning races and collecting point after point in the fight for the Moto GP World Championship. One factor that is making Marquez's competitors increasingly nervous is his steadily improving physical condition. On several occasions, Marquez has admitted that he is still not at his absolute best. Yet despite not being fully fit, he has continued to win races and remain competitive against the fastest riders on the grid. That reality has raised a major question among MotoGP fans and analysts. If a Marquez who is not yet fully recovered can already win races and close the gap in the standings, what will happen when he returns to peak physical condition? That question is now beginning to haunt every one of his rivals. The MotoGP paddock has once again been reminded that as long as Marc Marquez is on the track, no rider can ever feel completely secure in the battle for the World Championship. With Marc Marquez claiming a brilliant victory and Marco Bezzecchi failing to score any points, the fight for the 2026 MotoGP World Championship has entered a far more intense and pressure-filled phase. The momentum that once seemed to favour Bezzecchi is gradually shifting towards Ducati and Marc Marquez. His speed has returned to its highest level, his race management has become sharper than ever, and his physical condition continues to improve from race to race. If this trend continues, Marquez could become the biggest threat in the title fight and dramatically reshape the landscape of the 2026 MotoGP Championship over the coming rounds. Meanwhile, his rivals must quickly find a way to stop the Spanish rider's resurgence before it is too late. One major question now looms over the championship. Are we witnessing the beginning of Marc Marquez's march toward another MotoGP World Championship title? Or can Marco Bezzecchi still hold on to his advantage until the end of the season? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.